Getty. Pope Francis delivering his Easter Urbi et Orbi blessing from St. Peter's Basilica. In his Easter message delivered to tens of thousands of visitors and pilgrims in a packed St. Peter's Square in the Vatican, he said the conflict on the Gaza border does not spare the defenseless. Making his appeal from the central balcony of Rome's St. Peter's Basilica, he also said he hoped the fruits of dialogue would advance peace and harmony on the Korean peninsula, where the two sides are set to take part in their first summit in a decade on April 27. Earlier in the day he had celebrated Mass in the flower-bedecked square. The Pope made an appeal for humanitarian aid to be allowed into Syria and for peace in both South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Getty. Pope Francis appealed for peace in Syria, and in South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo this Easter. May the light of the risen Christ illumine the consciences of all political and military leaders, so that a swift end may be brought to the carnage in course. Pope Francis appeared to refer to the Gaza violence after the region was marred by last Friday's clashes and called for reconciliation for the Holy Land, also experiencing in these days the wounds of ongoing conflict that do not spare the defenseless. He also begged for peace for the entire world, beginning with the beloved and long-suffering land of Syria, whose people are worn down by an apparently endless war. The Pope added, "This Easter, may the light of the risen Christ illumine the consciences of all political and military leaders, so that a swift end may be brought to the carnage in course." He also spoke a day after the Syrian army command said it had regained control of a majority of towns and villages in eastern Ghouta. Getty. The Pope said he hoped the fruits of dialogue would advance peace on the Korean peninsula. Tens of thousands of people have now evacuated the area which was once home to 2 million people. Pope Francis, who is celebrating his 6th Easter as Roman Catholic leader since he was elected in 2013, urged his listeners to work for an end to the so many acts of injustice in the world. He prayed the power of Jesus' message bears fruits of hope and dignity where there are deprivation and exclusion, hunger and unemployment, where there are migrants and refugees, so often rejected by today's culture of waste, and victims of the drug trade, human trafficking and contemporary forms of slavery.